winning cures all, and apparently it wasn't enough for Calvin Johnson because the Detroit Lions, they didn't do a whole bunch of winning during his tenure in Detroit Rock City. There will be only one Megatron, so let's take a look at his career numbers. As you can see right there, since 2007, he is the cream of the National Football League's crop. Receiving yards, touchdowns, 100-yard games, 25-plus yard receptions. He's first in each and every single category, and he holds the record for the most receiving yards in a season with 1,964. He did that back in 2012. So, of course, there's all that talk that starts swirling around about Canton, Ohio. Of course, that is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Is Megatron, is he worthy of a bust in Canton?
Oh, worthy, of course.
Okay.
But the question is whether he gets in. Probably not. Just,
wow.
What? T.O. sitting out there.
Really?
Wow. Do you see what they do to wide receivers?
But
going into the
T.O.'s
Hall
going
of
to get
Fame?
in, though.
Well, he will ultimately get in.
We agree.
Well, T.O.'s got much better numbers than he
no
has,
question
too.
about it.
But did T.O. have to wait because of other reasons?
Well, but that's not T.O.'s fault
that
he's got other reasons. That's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to vote on what you do. We're not supposed to take our own personal agendas and feel, because you weren't nice to me, I can't put you in the Hall on the first ballot because you weren't nice to me. Because who are you? Let me move on to somebody else, because that wasn't nice what I just said. So I'm going to let you talk now.
Is Megatron worthy of a bust in Canton? Is he a Hall of Fame?
No question about it to
me.
When you start talking about Hall of Fame, it's something that's almost like a museum for pro football. You want to remember the best that are in the game. It's almost like telling a story. So when you start talking about the story of the wide receiver position over the last 10 years, I don't know how you can tell it without mentioning Calvin Johnson. Right. I mean, this is a person that teams literally put two cornerbacks on top of him, trying to bump him and keep him out of getting in the route because he was such a dominant force. That year in 2012, probably one of the most dominant performances we've seen by any player at any position. 1,964 receiving yards, just off the charts. What he can do, what he brought to the table, just an amazing football player. I don't know how he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he dominated the league in almost a decade. I mean, take a look at his numbers. Since 2007, he was first in receiving yards, receiving touchdown, 100-yard games, 25-plus yard receptions.
Teacher,
how does that not get in?
Yeah, how that does not get in? Because until Ike Bruce gets in with his 15,000 yards and his 91 touchdowns, he's not in. And in that case, let's talk about Torrey Holt, who's got 920 catches, 13,000 yards, 74 touchdowns. So all of these guys have more. And so I'm not saying Calvin doesn't belong in. I'm saying the guys that do the voting, until these guys get in, how do you put Megatron in?
But, Jamie, we always talk about this. Numbers and statistics don't tell the entire story. Are those guys on that sheet of paper as dominant as Calvin Johnson was during their era?
Yeah, all I know is the greatest show on turf will forever be in history. We won't even talk about anything that – only thing we talk about out of Detroit is individual freak athletes. Calvin Johnson is an individual freak. Barry Sanders, individual freak. The greatest show on turf, Ike and Torrey both were a part of that.
They're world champions.
Yes, they were champions.
You can't discount that.
And they weren't along for the ride.
Yeah.
The number's not always indicative of potency, but they indicate that he was extremely potent. So, Chris, I'll ask you firsthand, what makes a guy like Megatron so hard to defend?
Well, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, but his understanding of how he can use his body to put himself in positions to make plays, how he can make the quarterback's job easier, how he makes everybody else's job easier by opening up opportunities, whether it be in the running game or for the second or third receiver on that roster. He just changes the complexion of the game, particularly in the passing game for teams. And so, you have defenses that are trying to stop him literally with specific game plan approaches to take him out of the game. He's a focal point.
That was genius. That was beautiful, but I can sum it up a little quicker than that. And I can sum it up just like I can sum about when you asked that same question.
We're putting you on the clock.
There you go. Ask it about Cam Newton. So ask me about both those guys, and the answer is there's defensive ends playing their positions. Calvin Johnson was a defensive end, basically 6'5", 6'4", big frame. How are you defending that? Cam Newton, defensive end. I mean, this exceptional athlete who had a nimbleness for guys their size that was very impressive.
And the other thing, too, he did it on a team that wasn't known for success. They went to the playoffs twice in 9 seasons he was with Detroit.
See how she looked at me when she said, not known for,
I mean,
my career, you're right.
He put up those numbers on a team that struggled over the course of a decade. They only saw the postseason twice.